Hello. Today I'm doing a different kind of video because I've been wanting to do videos like this for a while, and then Leo Tech did a similar one about dolphins, and I do have one rectification on his point actually. Dolphins are also useful when you're swimming in Minecraft, and they make you go faster. That's also a time when they're useful. But anyway, that's not the point we're here. The point we're here is to talk about fucking appeasement. Yeah, that's right. Appeasement. Now, for those of you who don't know, I'm not going to assume everybody takes history. I know some of you might be art motherfuckers, some of you might be music motherfuckers, some of you might be science motherfuckers. I learned this in my spare time. I don't know if it's done on any curricula. Appeasement was a policy in the 1930s, mainly led by, I think, Britain and France, which was basically ignoring things Hitler and the Nazis did to avoid the Second World War. You got things such as allowing the army to grow again, or the Rhineland being reoccupied, and then Anschluss with Austria, and then finally the Munich Agreement. And personally, and I feel like a lot of historians would agree, it's just bullshit. It's just bullshit. So, the main reason for appeasement is, all the countries had just come out of World War One. Germany had been forced to sign the Treaty of Versailles, what have you. And then, so you've got the terms. You've got land. Germany lose 13% of their land and colonies. Like Africa was split up between, I think, France and Britain, stuff like that. The armed forces, 100,000 ground troops, 6 warships, and no armed force. What the hell? And no armed, no air force. Sorry. Money, they had to pay reparations, and that's not really relevant. And then it comes to the 1930s, and I'm not sure entirely on a date, but as far as I'm aware, Hitler, he starts moving more towards the army over the SA after the Night of the Long Knives, which is, I want to say 34, so I'd guess around the 34-35 period. He starts, building the army back up, making more like tanks and planes and warships, and the British Prime Minister, Neville Chamberlain, what does he do? He doesn't go, hey, bear in mind, this man is the leader of the biggest army in the world at this point, and he doesn't go, hey, dude with the funny moustache, cut that out, or us Brits will come and take you out. We'll go, no, because you know what will stop a Second World War? Letting the biggest, like the most likely event. What? Letting the most likely person who's going to start the Second World War to upgrade the arms the army is using, and then massively increase the size of the army. But no, okay, yeah. Maybe if he lets him have an army, he'll stop there. Now, one of the agreements of the Treaty of Versailles, as I've said, was the land. And some of that land included Alsace-Lorraine, which was a colony France and Germany were fighting over since the unification of Germany. The Rhineland was another example. So, how come in 1936, when Germany waltzes into the Rhineland with their newly built up army, and just, you know, goes against France, maybe the second biggest empire at the time, and just goes, yeah, no, we're having this back. This is ours now. Ignore the treaty. This is ours. What? Now, imagine you're a British, French, US, any of these citizens. What do you expect to happen? You know, maybe your mighty French Empire or your mighty British Empire will go, hey man, that ain't cool of you. You ain't doing that. Or maybe you'd expect, like, a meeting to be called or something. Nah, it just happens. And they're just like, yeah, alright. Yeah, okay, you can do that. That's okay. So then, you know, that's that. Now they have the means to make the money to upgrade all their armed forces again. So then you move on to the next. So you're thinking, oh, well, we've let them grow their army. And we've let them, like, take back the Rhineland. So surely they'll stop there, right? You know, surely they'll be happy. We give them what they want. No. Have you never seen where this goes? Have you never seen this? You give someone who wants ultimate power, like, you know, you throw them a bone. They're not going to stop until you fight them for that bone. Which is why Hitler then moves into the Anschluss with Austria, which is a fancy way of saying a lot of Austrians and a lot of Germans agreed that Germany and Austria should be unified under one country. So that happens, which was forbidden by the Treaty of Versailles, and nobody really questions it. We're just sort of like, and I mean, by the end of this video, I'm sure you'll all be able to notice a pattern. We just kind of go, yeah, okay, that's normal. That's all right. You know, you're gonna do the thing that we specifically said in the treaty to end the First World War. You're not gonna do, and you're just gonna do that anyway, and that's all right. And then, then we go to 1938, which is the real kicker to me, to be honest. This is the real funny part to me. So, you've taken land away from them. You know, you've said, you're not allowed this land. The German Empire is no more. And then you've let them take more land. Now, it comes to a head in the 1938 Munich Agreement. Not only have they just let them take land, like, just watched as they do it, and just sort of allowed it. In the 1938 Munich Agreement, I believe it was Germany, France, Nazi Germany, France, British Empire, and fascist Italy, I want to say. And they just agree. They're just like, no, yeah, you can take the Sudetenland, which is like, it's, I guess you could call it a border. It's like the bit of, I think it's Czechoslovakia, which, the Czech Republic, whatever it's called now, I don't actually know, which borders Germany. They just let them take it, and they're just like, yeah, okay. We're actually going to agree that you can take this. We're not even going to try and stop you. We're just going to say, yeah, you can. As long as you don't invade Poland. As long as you don't invade the rest of Czechoslovakia. And so Hitler goes, yeah, sound. I can do that. That works. So, you know, Neville Chamberlain comes back, Prime Minister of England at the time, and he's like, oh my god, I managed to get Hitler to do what I want. No way. And then, what happens? You've let him take the Sudetenland. He then comes, and he takes the rest of Czechoslovakia. Are we starting to get shocked by the fact that Hitler's taking insane liberties and nobody's doing anything to stop him? And then we get the head. Once he's taken the rest of Czechoslovakia, after agreeing that he's not gonna, we go, oh yeah, no, actually, that's all right. You can do that. Just don't take Poland. Now, let's think about this one logically. We said don't expand your army. He expanded his army. We said, don't. You lose land. He's taken more land. We said don't have an air force. He gives himself an air force. If we say don't invade Poland, do we really think he's not going to invade Poland? And then lo and behold, on the 1st of September 1939, maybe a bit before, I think that's when World War II started, he goes and he takes Poland. And that's finally where we all step in. The funny thing is, Neville Chamberlain, who had faith in his good old friend Hitler, thinks, I've made a right fool of myself. I made a right mug, and just resigns. He just gives up after, doing all that to try and stop Hitler and World War II. World War II starts because of his actions, and he just thinks, I'm gonna bounce. That's me done. I think I've had enough ruling. Because it's not even like his term had come to a term. It's like, not even that his time had ran out. He just gave up. He just fucking packed his shit and left. Like, how foolish must a guy be? Now, let me just do a quick recap for you all. And just point out to me, at what point do you think you know his pattern? We have a set of rules, I guess, for Germany. After the First World War. Admittedly, some of them we put in were extremely harsh. We maybe punished them a bit too much, seeing as, it wasn't even Germany's fault, really, was it? It was Serbian and the Austrian-Hungarian Empire issue. I don't know why Germany got involved. I don't know why we got involved. It's because of Belgium. That's why we got involved. But anyway, I digress. So we set these rules, and he breaks one of the rules. And if we had gone in and gone, hey man, you can't do that, and forced him to not break the rule, that would have avoided World War II as well, because he would have had no army to fight World War II. But we let him do it. And then he takes a bit of land, which we specifically said he can't have. And we let him do it. And then he joins with Austria, which we said he couldn't do. And then he goes and does it. And then we actually say he can have this land, which isn't his to have. And he takes way more. And it finally comes to a head with Poland. We could have prevented this years before. But anyway, that's been me ranting about history.